I wanted to get in one more recording this week. Even though it's raining out, it's an important topic. Completely for humans and humans only. And it's really raining over there. I wanted to say that I appreciate every human being, male or female, who is out there, who is trying to think outside of the prison cells that they are put in by the SQLD and the demented white females, queer propaganda, the sickening stain of political correctness, all of the twisted liars that are trying to use the lie enough rule to make their lies become true. The lie enough rule operates in a very Nazi kind of way, a very prison camp kind of way. It continually bombards somebody with lies until dumbly and stupidly that person starts to believe the lies. The lie enough rule says if you lie enough to somebody, and even if the lies are the exact opposite of the truth, if you lie enough at them, one of them or 100 of them or 1,000 of them, they will begin to believe the lies. They will start to say completely stupid things like, well, they think it's true, so maybe it is. Maybe we didn't understand. Maybe we weren't told the right thing. And so on and so forth. The lie enough rule is a force-feeding operation where people are forced with continuous injections of lies to kill the truth that they already know and accept lies in the place of that truth. I call it the lie enough rule, and it really is. It's a propaganda technique that all of the SQLD use, satanic and queer lying dead. And any human being who thinks outside of that prison cell, which is what it is, it's living in continual torture because everything is a lie from these sewer creatures like demented white females, faggots, lessee turds, politicians. Oh, and now we're getting a new crop of queered commercial protesters. Some of the commercial protesters are becoming more outwardly queer than they were before. Anyone who bucks that, anyone who thinks outside of that, anyone who ignores it or rejects it, I applaud and I appreciate their efforts. I say they are doing a very wonderful thing. They're doing the best they possibly can do at the time. Whether it's large or small, as long as they're outside of that sickness, they get my appreciation, even if they don't get anybody else's appreciation, because everybody else is either the enemy who is lying to them or is an idiot that has been lied to. Dumped on, buried by lies. It's very difficult to be a real human being in an environment or a society where creatures like the demented white females are allowed to run loose, and middle managers are paid to confound people and bully people into believing lies from the queer propagandists, the so-called homosexual agenda. We have all these agents that are working directly against you to try to get you to die inside and then accept their filth as your truth. Even a little bit of being outside of it is very difficult, and I applaud your efforts. I appreciate your efforts. I want you to know somebody appreciates you. Somebody cares enough to say that they appreciate you and you are doing things right. Forget what those scum say you are doing. Forget their intimidations. I've got some notes here. The entire process that they hit you with to make you politically correct and therefore incapable of thinking and incapable of resisting their regimented campaigns of lies and demands. It's not just lies, it's demands that you believe the lies, that you accept the lies, that the lies take you over, that the lies become everything to you, and therefore everything about you becomes theirs, because the lies are from them. If the lies control you, they control you. They tell you who to vote for, and you vote. They tell you bad is good, and you believe it. They tell you good is bad, and you believe it. This stifles and stagnates any real thought in your brain. Real intuitive reasoning, deductive reasoning, real human reasoning cannot exist in that kind of sewered mental environment where all the neurons are afraid to actually think like a neuron is supposed to think. Where your brain is actually afraid to think like a brain should think. Because the instant you think like a human being, you start to realize, hey, this is all a lie. It's all false. It's all queer shit. This is not true. I'm not going to vote for that. And that thinking is exactly what they want to kill. They cannot have you knowing the truth or thinking for yourself. Their entire regime of lies depends upon you accepting their queer shit as your gospel, your life, your reason for living, which very happily to them makes them twisted little gods and twisted little goddesses in your beguiled brain. That is what they want. That is what they need. And if you are fighting that, I appreciate your efforts completely. I'm behind you 100%. Enemies, enemies, enemies. Enemies like queer Warner Brothers, queer Disney, Holly Queer, the Department of Justice, which hasn't been that in decades. All of these things are nothing more than instruments, crowbars to hit you over the head with and to leverage you with out of your natural place where you belong. To topple you over into their sewage where they can maul you, bury you, and control you with lies, pretenses, fakery, phony this, phony anything, which is thrown at you with angry attitudes that, number one, you don't know this already and accept it as your truth, and two, how could you possibly be thinking on your own? How could you possibly be thinking for yourself when they need you to think for them the way they need you to think for them? When they need you to think their way. And they demand that you think their way. They'll give you a whining and a demanding combination. How dare you, whine, 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 not think for us. Whine, whine, whine. You had better think for us right now. Right now, think for us. Not for yourself. Believe our lies right now. How dare you not believe our lies? Whine, 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 whine. Why can you not understand our lies? Why? Whine, whine, whine. You better believe our lies right now. You had better believe our lies. You better think our lies right now. They do that from grade school on up to university and beyond. The public schools here in this country are filled with torture chambers called classrooms, where that kind of indoctrination is happening to anyone who appears to them to be independent-minded and able to think for himself or herself. Every school out there is a factory to produce zombies, deviants, and cattle. Two-legged cattle. And do you think those NEA teachers have any remorse? Do you think they have any remorse about that? Do you think that they feel sorry that they have to kill so many children? Oh, no. No. Children are numbers. Children are those little things that have to be changed, controlled, programmed. They're just the job. What matters is the agenda. The so-called homosexual agenda to queer the society and dominate. There's no other reason for it except domination. Flat out, that's it. Domination. We all have the twisted Democrats to thank for taking them out of Pandora's box and trying to make a class out of them, thinking that they could control them. As it turns out, they control nothing. They're just the asswipes they always were. The greedy, always money-mongering, always grubbing for more power, grubbing for more votes, grubbing for more influence anywhere. No matter how low it is, they'll grub right down and try to dig it up and turn it into a class and make it vote for them, and knowing in their little brains that they can control it. When it happens, they will be the masters. Now even the Democrats, as stupid as they are, realize they control nothing. They can barely control themselves. They've got queer coalitions, and they're caught in them now. They don't even control the queer coalitions that they are encapsulated and contained within. Which is typical. The perverts always attack where there is the most corruption. The perverts always attack where there is the most corruption. Because with corruption, you get criminal mentalities, and you get total lack of reasoning. Glossed over, covered over, buried over by greed. Where you get corruption, you have greed. Greed causes corruption. Corruption reciprocates with more greed. That is where the deviants always attack, where there is the most corruption and the most greed. And that was the Democrats. Knowing that they could take over the Democrats. It's easy. Control their corruption, control their greed, and you control the Democrats. Meanwhile, in all of that sewage, anyone who objects to it or does not want to be a part of it, or appears to be a human being, is attacked mercilessly by every bitch and bastard that subscribes to the entire Planet Sinister scenario, the entire so-called homosexual agenda. And you'll notice that they're caught on a lie. They're actually caught on a lie. They're ratcheting on a lie. They're hitting this one lie again and again and again and again. Because on the list of lies, they've been stopped at one lie. And in their hideous brains, they've got to force that one lie, which has been blocked, to be accepted by everybody as their own. As the first thing that they think of when they wake up, and the last thing that they think of when they go to sleep. Something which completely dominates them, rules them, is with them in their brains at all times. It's a lie that they cannot get everyone to accept because it's, number one, total queer shit, and number two, human resistance is saying the truth about it all the time. And that lie is about queer and phony marriage hatred. The ridiculous idea that deviants can be married. That's where they've been hung up at. That's where they cannot get accepted. They're trying to lie their way around that lie. But they cannot bypass it. They're caught. They're hung up on the latest lie. They have to build this huge tower of fabricated imbecility, drones, products of public schools, politicians, burnout politicians, new piggy politicians from hog plants, all pasted together into a Tower of Babel, all for the purpose of making it appear at some point in time as if this one queer lie that they are caught on has been successful, and now they can go on to the next lie. It's all about a list of lies, one after the other, and for some perverted reason, they cannot hop around 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 2, 4, 6, and 8. They've got to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They've got to go in sequence to get their grand plan of world domination to work for them. They've got to have everything accepted by everyone, even if it means killing the brains of everyone. That counts in their book. That counts to their brains. If everyone else cannot think, then that counts. And whatever lie they got hung up on is considered to be successful, and then they can go on to the next lie. That's how it works. That's how it operates. It's like fighting flies. Any human being, male or female, who counters that in his own life or her own life and stays out of that, rejects it, especially rejects it, vocally or not vocally, demonstratively or not, I want them to know that I appreciate all of their efforts. By the way, those of you out there who are human and who are doing that, you need to appreciate each other. Just because the turds on TV say that you are monsters and terrorists, just because the Department of Queer Justice says you are monsters and you are terrorists because you do not accept the agenda. Well, there's two things about that. One, that's an automatic sign that you're doing something right. It's an automatic indication that you are right. You're going in the right direction. To have vermin like that dislike you, put you on their lists, blah, 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 that's all a very good indication to you that, hey, you're getting somewhere. You're actually becoming better. You're escaping their clutches, their grab, their greedy ooze, their social blob that they want to stick you inside of, smother you in. You're getting out of that. And number two, if you can find the lists, those lists tell you who else is getting out of it, who else is human. Those lists tell you, number one, you're not alone. There are other humans out here, or in your city, wherever you are, who these twisted, perverted lunatics consider to be dangerous, yourself included. And you should seek them out. You should find them and socialize, collect together. They haven't enforced any laws against collective thinking and collective meetings as they intend to. Later on, they will. If they can get these lies to permeate enough of society, to corrupt enough of society, to kill enough people in society so that they are brain dead and will not resist, will not oppose such totalitarian measures, then if they think they can get away with it, they will start to ban public meetings and public assembly. That is 2 or 3 people or more anywhere. On a street corner, in a bar, anywhere, discussing anything that they do not have on their list as what they want everyone to think. If it's not on their thinking list, they will break up the assemblage. It will be called an illegal assembly. They'll break it up, put people in jail, throw them out of bars, throw them out of rooms and churches, wherever they want, wherever they can find anybody, 2 or 3 people or more at the same time, discussing anything that's not on their list of acceptable perversion. They will attack it, they will break it up. And there are many, many city and town police who are greedy, stupid. Should we mention donuts? Have pensions on the line, really never cared about the people anyway, are sick and tired of their job, want more perks, want more money, and will suppress anyone, even the people in their own towns and their own cities, for more money and more perks, more pension, more benefits. And there are sadists all through them. Sadistic motherfuckers all through them, in uniforms, that are now, right now, and have been for years now, being selected. When we do this, when we do that, You will be our man, our sadist, our butcher, our torturer. When we hit Cleveland, or we hit Cincinnati, or we hit Chattanooga, you and you and you and you will be our bullies. You will be our enforcers. You're the most sadistic ones on the force. You're the worst cops here. You will be our men to subject the society, to control it, to quell rebellion. Ruthlessly, mercilessly. They are already being chosen. If they can get enough lies pushed through, if they can get the society to be absolutely and abysmally stupid enough, uncaring enough about their own lives and the lives of their children and any future at all, if they can get any society or any region to that point, then in that region they'll start to do what I just said. They will start to impose martial kinds of laws against what they will call illegal and possibly terrorist assembly, which could be three guys on a street corner saying that the local politicians are pigs. And the local politicians have that on a list as forbidden speech. And the corrupted, sadistic cops who enforce those lists and those phony totalitarian laws against assembly, they will attack those three guys on the street corner. Either put them in jail or break them up with billy clubs, beat them, sick the dogs on them, and break it up. All the deviants will be happy. Domination will be achieved. And if you think they're not trying to do that, if you think they haven't already experimented with that, you're not on the same planet with us. You're somewhere in La La Land. You might as well stay in a closet. Live the rest of your remaining decades in a closet. Well, I wanted to say that I appreciate anyone who is fighting that and resisting that, and in essence, in every way possible, telling that to go to hell and sending it to hell. Feel free to do so. Do not listen to their gibberish, their propaganda jargons, their lies, their demands, their shouts at you, their intimidations that there's something wrong with you. Can you see the connection between intimidation and lies? Can you see why liars would use intimidation? Intimidation is what should be outlawed. Lies should be outlawed. And lies know that. Liars know that. Liars know that everything they do should be outlawed. It's against nature, it's against the species, it's against human decency. But human decency doesn't give them the twisted, false sex that they like and the twisted senses of domination that they like. They like to feel sick, wicked, perverted, and superior. They like that combination. And ordinary goodness does not give that to them, because in ordinary goodness, you are ordinary. The perverts offer all of these sickos the carrot of being special and superior instead of ordinary in an ordinary world. And a lot of them are twisted enough, sick enough, and products of NEA schools enough that they know nothing better. They're actually dumb to the point where they go for the carrot and they become queer. They become propagandists. They become spreaders, manure spreaders of the lies. And they go to classes, believe me. Do not think they do not go to classes. They go to classes on how to intimidate all of you. Stop thinking that those things are like you, and just because they smile, they're not trying to use you. They go to classes on how to intimidate you in their houses, in their office buildings, in their controlled schools. They go to classes on how to intimidate you. Wake up. You are not at fault if you oppose them. You are not at fault if you resist them. It is they who have always been at fault. Always. Always. From day one. From day one, it's always been them. And nobody else. And they know it. I just wanted to give you a little pep talk here. And once again, I have to say, I appreciate you. Keep fighting. Do not let them intimidate you and silence you. Just keep fighting. Make it your life. Make it your way. Someone appreciates it out here. And you should appreciate yourself. I know it's raining, but I wanted to say to any and all human beings, male or female, just how much I appreciate what they go through when they resist all of that pressure from all of those evils that liberalism and Democrats unleashed upon all of us. And when those people, male or female, think on their own, think of their own thoughts, their own patterns, their own brain impulses instead of what they are told to think of. None of you out there who do that get any kind of appropriate appreciation. It just does not happen. Some of you could be surrounded by the refuse, the products of the SQLD propaganda, satanic and queer lying dead. The new barrage of queered commercial protesters on radio. More of them are coming out as the perverts they always were anyway. And there's always a little pervert in every commercial protester, because where there is greed and corruption, there is perversion. And commercial protesters are very greedy and very corrupt. Very corrupt. And it's always an ABC package. Corruption, greed, perversion. If you've got 2 out of 3, the third one is there. Now, on schedule, as scripted by the queer propagandists, some of these commercial protesters are coming out as more and more perverted. What they're really doing is revealing how sick they were to begin with. How did they get that sick? They went to public schools. How did they get that sick? They never resisted. How did they get that sick? They were greedy. How did they get that sick? They were corrupted. It probably started with greed. They wanted to be famous somehow. Famous in what? Famous in the wrong places. Famous to the wrong things. They became what it takes to be famous to the wrong creatures, to evil, to Satanism, to deviation. They molded themselves and were molded at the same time by others to become a certain kind of thing within the sewage of a queer coalition. I've been telling you for years and years that they're nothing more than commercial protesters. Now, according to the agenda, the so-called homosexual agenda, they are being brought out as what they really are now, as opposed to what they were before. It's a kind of sleight of hand. It's a kind of sleight of face and presentation. A lot of times the perverts don't immediately change something over. They've done that recently with some athlete that they brainwashed into having its genitals changed. They do that as a kind of contrast and a kind of diversion away from all of the other things that they are doing, which is done more slowly and more sleight of hand and sleight of lie and sleight of face. Reading the reports that these commercial protesters are now openly deviated is not a surprise. That's not a surprise whatsoever. It's nothing more than a three-sided creature with three faces, showing you a face that it has not shown before. It's always been there. It's always been three-faced. But you've only been seeing two: greed and corruption. Greed and corruption. But you can tell what that third face is. You can tell what is the third face by what the other two do. If the other two faces, greed and corruption, always respond negatively to human beings, guess what that third face is? Guess what that other face must be? It must be a deviant. It must be a pervert. I mean, that's absolute. The queer propagandists are not nearly as sneaky as they think they are. They're not nearly as clever as they think they are. And the range of possible lies is finite anyway. There's only so many lies that you could come out with in one period of time, even if you've got it all dominoed together so that it all falls in line. Often it falls on itself. It gets uncoordinated. The lies trip over other lies. It all becomes very apparent as to what it is. And you can block any one domino, you can block any one lie, and hold up the entire thing. Oh yeah, because if they try to go around it, you disallow it. Anytime they come up with another lie, you say, but what about this lie? If they got stopped at lie number 8, and they cannot get the public to die enough to accept lie number 8, they will try to leap to lie number 10. All you have to do is say, oh, no, we're not talking about that. We're talking about lie number 8. You hold them to it. You nail their asses to lie number 8. But what about lie number 8? 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 Forget lie number 10. What about lie number 8? You lied at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Why does 8 not work? Once you block them at a domino, once you block a lie, you can use that blockade forever. That is what happens to liars. That is what happens to any regime or campaign or organization based on lies. That is what happens. You see, they're far from invulnerable. They're far from perfect. They're far from majestic. They are far from dominant. They are far from superior. They are just lying bastards and bitches. They're nothing but lying scum. Deviated, nasty, filthy, scheming, smiling, squirming scum. And anyone who opposes them or does not think the way they want you to think will be attacked, denigrated, insulted, embarrassed, and using all of their suppositions, using no reality at all, using only suppositions, they will try to get you to feel like you are grossly inferior and a terrible little terrorist for not being in the sewer light of their brilliance. Oh, their brilliance. Their brilliant sewer light. And for not appreciating it and bowing before it. How low you must be, how terrible you must be not to see their greatness and their wickedness. Oh yes, that's what matters. Wickedness. Which you had better not think is wicked unless they allow you to. How dare you oppose that? So they will spend great effort. They will put a lot of time into tearing you down, making you feel like a reject based on social assumptions that do not exist, based on their falsehoods. You will be rejected, and you will feel low and terrible and worthless because you were rejected from their falsehoods. You were rejected from their society of lies. Can't you feel that? Can't you feel the shame? Don't you feel the pain? Don't you wish you had lied? Don't you wish you had complied with their demands? They try to heap their suppositions upon you, mixed with the demands that you do not match what the suppositions want, and therefore you must feel pain. You must suffer. You must be shut up. You deserve to be shut up. Because the falsehoods are not in your brain. And it is mandatory, if you want to be in this crap, that all of their falsehoods are in your brain. I just wanted to clarify that. This is Humboldt, Iowa. And I wanted to say again that I appreciate all of your effort, all of the things that you do to be any human being of any description, male or female, to be outside of their box of thinking or false thinking, to have your own human reasoning, and to oppose politics, Oppose anything that Watch This City wants of you. Oppose anything out of the hideous Boston horror zone, Nude Yak, any of the centers of evil. Identify it as to where it came from and oppose it. Avoid it. Oppose it. Be your own thinker. Be your own person. I appreciate that. I want you to know somebody appreciates it. I want you to appreciate each other. I want you to appreciate all of the other people who are human that you can identify and you can find. Like I said, they cannot forbid assemblies and conversation yet. They want to, and if you continue to not assemble, if you continue to not collect together, if you continue not to discuss this, if you continue to be quiet and shy and not collect into groups of human beings and share all of your experiences and discuss all of them and say the truth about them, then you're just leaving yourself open for this. You're just setting yourself up to be controlled by a military-type dictatorship or an oligarchy, a totalitarian regime. Because after all, since you were not collecting together anyway, since you were not assembling anyway, since you were not discussing how bad things are and discussing ways to oppose it anyway, what have you lost when they no longer allow you to assemble? What have you lost when they take away your right to talk to each other about how bad they are? This twisted Department of Justice that now exists in Watch This City. If those scum could, they would muzzle every human being on the planet. They would tear our tongues out in punishment for being humans. If you think that's an exaggeration, you're not on this planet. You're hiding in a closet or under a sofa somewhere. You do not understand what they are. Total power leads to total corruption. They already have the total power in their brains. Even if they do not have it out here in reality, they've got it in their thinking, their egomanias. So those egomanias are already totally corrupt. I just had a really amusing thought. Part of the fun of making videos is knowing ahead of time what lies are going to be said about your videos. There will be middle managers and paid liars, which are akin to paid assassins, trying to assassinate my character using these videos in an attempt to get across an idea to dumb people that I am too severe and too extreme and I scare people. You'll be lied to about it. You'll be told that everything I say is wrong. You'll hear all of the litany of prearranged, pre-written support lies that are designed to reinforce other lies. They do not just have primary lies, they have secondary lies, and they have tertiary lies. They have levels of lies intended to support each other. They hit you with a web of lies, not just one or two. Every major primary lie has got all kinds of supporting lies underneath it to confuse you, divert your objections to the lies, and make you think you're wrong for not loving the lies. You're going to hear all kinds of secondary lies about these videos. You'll have to suffer through that if you are exposed to those things, because just to be in the presence of those things is to be lied to. Just to be in the presence of such creatures as that means you will be attacked. You will be subjected to heinous crimes against your brain, against your mind. Get away from them. Break away from them. Have nothing to do with them. Leave them. To hell with them. But over here I'm having fun because I know they're going to lie and say such stupid drivel as, he is scary. He's scary. Isn't he scary? Oh, he's scary. Oh, the things he is saying are scary. Oh, don't you feel afraid of him? Ergo, don't you feel afraid of the truth? Feel afraid of him so you will feel afraid of the truth. If you fear him, well, then you must fear these things that he is saying. Oh, does it matter if it's true? Oh, no, it's scary. It's scary. Don't listen. It's scary. Don't believe it. It's scary. Listen to our comfortable lies shoved up your ass. That always makes me laugh. In a way, every time I say the truth, it's kind of like a volcano. But all the ejecta, all the pyroclastics, is my enemies. I am the major volcanic event, but all of the fallout is the middle managers for hire, liars for hire, liar for gains, liars for power over their friends, liars for social status, maybe a higher standing in the public school. There's so many reasons why there are so many liars. And every time I do something, they erupt with all kinds of prescribed reactions, thinking that they're going to bury it, bury it, bury it, bury the truth, bury the truth, bury it under scary, make it scary, frighten people with it. Isn't Peter scary? Isn't the truth scary? Isn't reality scary? Aren't you afraid? Oh, you don't want anything to do with that. Stay away from it. Believe us. Believe us. believe our words, our litany, our campaign, our propaganda. Believe us. Isn't Peter's scary? Oh, we better stop that right now. Oh, scary. Uh-oh, scary. You know, it's all well and good to look for other human beings to be with. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of collective strength. It's a sign of collecting together that our enemies really hope we do not do. Really hope we stay fooled enough that we do not engage in collective reasoning. We've got all kinds of individuality anyway. We live to have our individual thoughts, but individually we can be picked off by the hundreds and thousands and even the millions. If we have not been collectively thinking, collectively networking, collectively putting together our brain power and our ideas, and we are not in the habit of collectively communicating. Let me try to explain that more. It is easier for them to take something away from you if you've never been doing it anyway. If you've never been talking on the street corners about them anyway. If you've never been gathering in conference rooms and discussing them and how bad they are and how to get rid of them anyway, then they feel even more at ease taking it away from you. True, your collecting like that and discussing how to get rid of them threatens them, making them want to stop you. But at the same time, if you're into this and you really do it a lot and you're constantly working against them, constantly collectively fighting them, disabling them, undercutting them, diverting them, destroying their intentions, then they will feel it is that much more difficult to impose a military sanction upon you. A military sanction of no assembly, no conversation, no discussing ways of getting rid of them. And you see, what you do is you put them into a pressure grinder. You pressure them with, on one hand, the desire to shut you up because you know the truth, and two, the fear that you will really rebel if they take something away from you that you have been doing a lot of, like weapons. If you're really into weapons, and a lot of us are, that is why they fear taking them away from us. They want to take them away from us. They want to deprive us of our weapons, literally take our weapons away from us, and they will have the only weapons. But at the same time, they are afraid of it. They think it will be impossible because we are constantly using weapons. It is something we do all of the time. That puts them into a pressure grinder. They want to take the weapons away. They don't think it's possible. They want to take the weapons away and dominate and rule us, whip and beat us, believe it. But they don't think they can, and they're afraid to, because we're always using weapons. We are on top of weapons. We're always with a weapon of some kind. We practice with weapons. We are very familiar with weapons. But how familiar are we with each other as weapons? How much do we assemble? How much do we talk about these things? Do we have a prevailing, across-the-board social norm, a social normalcy of humans, of talking anywhere we can with any other human we can about how bad this is and how to stop it, how to oppose it, how to resist it, exchanging notes, exchanging ideas, collecting our thoughts, putting it all together? How big is that in our lives? It should be huge, but I don't see it very much. It should be enormous, even more than weapons are, but I do not see it happening much. Therefore, how can you put them into a pressure bind with that if you're not applying the pressure? If you're not hitting them with the pressure of your constant conversation and meetings and workings against them, how can there be a pressure against them? They're already suffering from the pressure of they want to shut you up. They're already suffering from the pressure of the truth is happening and it is against them. But if there's no other pressure applied, then it's not binding upon them. It's not squeezing them. It's not immobilizing them. They want to stop all truth and all conversation of all truth. But how many conversations are you really having? How many conversations are you really engaging in? How many meetings do you have about them, about the enemy, about the deviants, the politicians, the queer and armed fart forces that replaced the United States Armed Forces, the five evils? How many conversations do you really have about that? That they know of. You've got to have both conversations that they do not know of and conversations that they do know of. You've got to have pressure applied. You've got to apply pressure to their greed and their evil. You've got to immobilize their dirty little brains. You've got them fairly immobilized about weapons. That's working well. What about the rest of the truth? What about stopping all of their perversions, all of their politics? The unfortunate thing about any triad of evil against you, and you're faced with 5 instead of just 3. The unfortunate thing about any triad of evil against you is that if you can immobilize one side, it's not enough. You have to have control of, you have to immobilize 2 out of 3 sides of any attack against you. Or the other 2 will kill you. There's not enough of their power available to them to merely immobilize and enslave you. Operating on only 2 out of 3 powers against you, they have to go for the kill, which is why they're trying to kill your brains. Having them defeated about weapons is not enough. Not at all. There's politics and deviance. They've got to go down. They've got to be controlled. They've got to be held back, shut down, just like you shut down all the attempts against your weapons. It's been very hot for the last week. That's why it's raining right now. After a hot spell, all of the evaporation that goes up into the air comes back. It's a cycle. When the corn is high, when the corn is 6 and 7 feet high, and the soybeans are a foot high, this place makes its own weather. The reason I started to say all of this is because it occurred to me that there are a lot of human beings out there that are once again being bombarded by lies from commercial protesters that have now revealed how perverted they are. And every time there is some kind of social attack against humanity by the perverts, they attack with a coordinated campaign of insinuations, lies cloaked as facts, given facts, lies supposed as the way it is. The same lies from 20 years ago being mouthed again. The same lies from 20 years ago being repeated to further ingrain into the brains of their victims that it must be the truth because they've been lying about it for 20 years. It must be the truth because they've been saying the same lie for 20 years. And there are human beings out there suffering from this. Suffering and feeling the way the perverts want them to feel. Feeling inadequate. Feeling alienated. Feeling diminished. Unworthy. Feeling rejected. Worthless. Because of another campaign of lies from the deviants, in which are a lot of 20 and 30-year-old lies being mouthed again, repeated again, by creatures that cannot avoid having worms come out of their mouths whenever they open. Like I said, what it really indicates is that they are hung up on lies. They're being blockaded. They're being blocked at a certain point in their chosen sequence of lies. They cannot get around it, and we will not let them get around it. We're stopping their lies with their own lies. With their own lies. No matter how many athletes they kill, no matter how many children they brainwash, those creatures will have to live in a world where the programming that they were destroyed with is not allowed. They now will exist in confinement within queer coalitions, which is where they were killed to begin with. They end up existing where they were killed. Because out here in the real world, that's nothing but queer shit. It's a lie. A lie is a lie. A lie is completely worthless. A lie is negative. A lie is anti-life. A lie is bullying. A lie is evil. Evil. Once they've been warped and distorted and butchered mentally by those lies, they have to exist forever in the knowledge that we know they're liars. We know they are the product of liars. We know they are the refuse left over from what happens to somebody after a lie is done with them. And how long do you think those lies are meant to last? How many lies that you are told, or those victims were told, were meant to be there for 10 or 20 or 30 years? What happens to the empty shell after a lie has worn out? What happens to an empty victim after the lies have subsided and are no longer any use? What if the propagandists cannot come up with new lies to replace the old lies with? How many times can you squeeze a bag and fill it again, and squeeze it a bag and fill it again with crap before it breaks? How many times can you fill a humanoid brain with lies, and then it squeezes and it goes away and it shrivels and it has to be filled again with new lies? How many times can that be done? What happens to those things? The products, the refuse of lies.